Welcome back. On today's episode of Canadian Formal, we will be tackling turtlenecks. So all you need to know coming up. Good day and welcome back to Canadian Formal. I'm Curtis Allen and I have a passion for making the men of the Great White North look and feel their very best. So on today's episode, we are talking turtlenecks. They are not just for turtles anymore. So this is our first installment on a new segment called Cheap or Steep, where we look at two versions of the same item, an inexpensive version and a very expensive version. So we will be able to compare and contrast, look at the benefits and drawbacks to see if it's really worth spending the additional money. So as you can see, I am wearing a turtleneck, and this turtleneck is the less expensive version. This is a Pierre Cardin turtleneck in a deep purple. It is 100% cotton, and that 100% cotton is where we're going to start, because when you look at materials, that will really be a dead giveaway on whether it is inexpensive or more expensive. Now, there are many materials for clothing, especially now compared to 20, 30, 40 years ago. There are a lot more man-made materials, and cotton certainly is not the cheapest among them. You have polyester, you have rayon, you have all sorts of less expensive materials, but we still want some semblance of good quality, even in an inexpensive item. So a turtleneck like this, even if it's not this exact one, you could find anywhere from $35 all the way up to maybe $60 or $70 when you stick in the cotton family. Now, there are benefits and drawbacks to having cotton. Because it is a natural material, you do get some really good breathability. But one of the drawbacks with that is it's not as warm as a wool or cashmere turtleneck would be. Now, if we look at this turtleneck in particular, like I said, it's deep purple and it has a folded neck. So you can unfold this and see how high it goes. And having that folded neck, and I'll fold it back down here, having that folded neck is great for warmth. So if you're wearing, let's say, a blazer or sport coat, or you're wearing maybe a pea coat that has a lower neckline, and you don't want to wear a scarf, although I love scarves, and if you haven't seen it already, we did do a video all about scarves, and that will be linked in the description, so do check that out after this video. But if you want to go out without a scarf, having this folded neck really helps in the late fall, early winter type of temperatures. So there are a couple other things you're going to notice with less expensive turtlenecks or sweaters in general. And like I said, this is the first of several installments, so do be aware and click the bell icon if you haven't already. Do like and subscribe also, so that you can catch those episodes when they drop. Do remember that we release a video every Friday. So catch up if need be. So the other thing you'll notice is that the shape and the fit is not going to be as forming to your body. Cotton is a great material. It's used predominantly in t-shirts, and it's more of a draping material, not really a contour hugging material. So given your body type, that may be viewed as a negative or a positive, but I would always like to see a material that works with the shape and curvature of the body. So this is the less expensive turtleneck. Now let's move to the more expensive turtleneck. So here we are with the more expensive turtleneck. This turtleneck is by Harry Rosen, which, if you don't know, is a luxury retailer in Canada. I know there have been some moves by other US retailers into Canada, like Nordstrom and Saks, but I really think that the pinnacle of luxury fashion in Canada still resides with Harry Rosen, and they have their own signature line of menswear, and this is from that collection. So a couple things to notice right off the bat. This is a black turtleneck, and the materials, which are key, are a blended material of silk, cashmere, and wool. And having three is unique. Oftentimes you'll get a combination of wool and cashmere, and you have to be careful because a lot of people will say, oh, it's a blend of wool and cashmere, as if they are equal. But then you look at the tag and find that it may only be 10% cashmere and 90% wool. So you're paying that quite steep markup for maybe not much in the results department. But this is 30% silk, 30% wool, and 40% cashmere. So having that tri-blend is important because it's going to give you a more flattering shape because of the silk. And the wool used is a fine merino wool. It is a wool you find in a lot of slightly more expensive sweaters. And the cashmere provides a great amount of warmth. So unlike the cotton turtleneck, you are getting a lot more warmth with this wool silk cashmere blend. And there are a few other smaller details to keep in mind as well. So as you can see with the neck, it is not as high as the previous turtleneck. It is a bit shorter, and it's not folded, so it's just one material. But what they do, which I think is wonderfully smart, is they have an elasticized ridge system around the neck, so you get a good amount of stretch. That way it is small enough to conform to your neck's shape, but large enough to expand when necessary. You're not going to get that kind of flexibility and expansion in cotton. So it may look a bit too bulky, as we saw with the previous turtleneck. And you also have the elastic in the cuffs of the shirt, or the turtleneck rather, the cuffs of the turtleneck, and around the bottom where the turtleneck kind of meets your waist and hips. That way it conforms nicely in that area of your body as well, which is also very important. So even though there are quite a few benefits with material and the elastic. There are some drawbacks as well. Most notably the price, and we will get to that. Also the care and maintenance. The cotton turtleneck, just throw in the washing machine, throw in the dryer, no problem, easy, don't worry about it. But when you get to anything wool, cashmere, silk, it has to be dry cleaned. There is just no way around it. It has to be dry cleaned. So you have to know that when you're making the purchase, that not only are you paying more on the front end, you will be paying more throughout the life of the sweater. But speaking of the life of the sweater or turtleneck, it will be a lot longer than the cotton, because the cotton will stretch, the cotton will fade a lot more so than the wool, cashmere, silk blend. So even though there is a higher cost, I believe that you will have a better fit with this type of turtleneck. I think because of the fit, it will look more stylish and you will get more use out of it. But you could be looking at an upfront cost generally of anywhere from $175 at Harry Rosen up to about $300. So that is a pretty large gap. But there are a lot of factors to keep in mind. The brand is a big one. And because this is a Harry Rosen brand, it is on the less expensive side. If you were to go with other manufacturers, Kennelly or Eaton, you could be looking at a much higher price tag. So that's important to keep in mind as well. But more important than the brand is the material. So I would always look at that first. So it is up to you to decide. Please comment down below which you find was a better looking turtleneck. And I will see you next time. I'm Curtis Allen for Canadian Formal, hoping you will stay stylish.